Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Table Talks. Today, our guest is Kim Kennedy from SANS. With me, as always, is Will McCullen, the program manager for the IT Center for Excellence
And I'm
at
frozen.
Arizona PIMA Community College. Nope, I messed it up. That's okay. All the information was in there. Kim will be back. That'll be fine. If you're new here, hi, I am Rachel Arnold. Look, there's Kim. Ta-da.
I froze again.
Oh,
It's one of those mornings.
It happens. We'll get to freezing in mornings here in a second. My name is Rachel Arnold. I am the Human API with Secure Nation. Hi, how are you? Welcome to my show.
I'm excellent. It's almost Friday. Oh, wait, it is Friday.
It is Friday.
Oh, no.
We're here. We made it.
That's even better. I've lost track of time.
So. We see everybody in the chat. Hi, good morning, Arnez, Britt, Scott. Oh, that's Will. That's you. That's you from YouTube.
Oh, hi, Simona.
Simona.
Adams is on.
Frank, good morning. So, if you don't know, you can chat with us live from the LinkedIn, Twitch, or YouTube. But also, your comments will be scrolling forever on the internet. So don't embarrass your family. Okay? Okay. If you have any questions for Kim as we go through this conversation, not sure why comments are not showing up. Are your comments not showing up, Meg? Anyway, mine are. That's sad. Well, Meg is in the background moderating, and as I was getting ready to say, if you have any questions for Kim, Meg will be able to pull those up to the bottom, and then we will get to them.
That's mine are working.
Hello again. I don't know.
I broke it.
And there's John Davis. Hi, good morning, John Davis. So speaking of freezing, I am located in South Louisiana. It's not freezing today, but on Tuesday, we had the snowstorm of the century. You can go look this up. Snowstorm 2025, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, all that. I live in between the two, sort of. I live closer to Baton Rouge than to New Orleans. Y'all ain't never seen a bunch of Cajuns freaking out. Okay. My kids have been out of school the whole week on Tuesday.
What is this snow that you're talking about?
It's this white crap that falls out of the sky and it sticks to the ground. And then you get to make people out of it. It's neat. My kids loved it. They had a blast. It was there was a blizzard. There was literally a blizzard. Y'all, the amount of Southern people, though, taken out for like their inner tubes for like, going on the lake or out in the Gulf. They would tie them to trucks and then drag each other.
My favorite's been the pontoon boat that I've seen.
What?
Somebody took their pontoon boat out on the snow, and that was pretty fun.
Now, you see, this is again one of those situations why physics should be mandatory in high school.
I don't need that. Safety. Who needs safety? I have yet to see, but now that you've said pontoon boat, if I owned a fan boat, which might be something some of y'all need to look up too, it's a fan boat. A fan boat is, if you ever come to Louisiana or the Everglades and you go on like a swamp tour, okay, you were probably riding in a fan boat. It's a rowboat with a ginormous fan on the back.
I'm sorry, it wasn't a pontoon. That's what it was. It was a fan boat.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Excellent. I need links for this.
Yes. Let me see if I can find said fan boat on snow.
That's amazing. Kim Crawley asked, what makes them Cajun? Seasoning?
They're definitely spicy. They
are. So that's a rabbit hole we can get down on another day, because there was a whole thing around South Louisiana historically. I'm not from here. I'm actually from Indiana. I'm a Hoosier. What's up, my Hoosiers? But I moved here when I was about 20. So I've been here for a while. I'm not going to tell you how long because that's not your business. It's been 5 years since I've lived here. I'm only 25. No, so I'm not from here, but there is a lot of local history involved around Cajun and Creole people and the elimination of that culture in public education systems that they've tried to go back and put a band-aid on to where now if you live in some parts of Louisiana, you can send your kids to Cajun French immersion schools where they do
interesting.
Isn't that cool? That's cool, right?
Yeah.
It's awesome. And John Davis has been here as long forever, so you can ask him all about Cajuns.
Well, that's kind of like when I was in Germany, right? We had a situation where they would teach English in American, and I'd ask my friend who took English, what is the difference? And she said, "Oh, well, it's quite simple, actually. You see, when you take English, you learn how to speak in complete sentences."
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
So Kim, where are you located? Where are you from?
I am from a lot of places at this point. I've been mostly between most of my life as an adult. I've been in Colorado, but I've lived in Florida. I've lived in Alabama. I've lived a little bit in Tennessee, a little bit in Costa Rica, a little bit in California. I just bounce around, and once I get my bus done, I will be still traveling around everywhere. So,
Bus. Okay, So you're working on this bus.
Yes.
What is
Everybody wants to know about this bus, and I have been failing horribly over the last couple of years to update everyone. So I did send some pictures for you to share, but
I'm working on it.
It's almost killed me, everyone. Life, COVID, last couple of years, it's taken me out. So, but I haven't given up. I will never give up on this dream. So,
well, could you frame the dream? What is it?
So the dream is to build. Okay, at the end of 21, I've already switched careers at this point, and I want to build out this bus. I saw a prison bus for sale, and in Las Vegas, it's from LA County. It's from 1996, and I was like, that's my job. That's my new dream, and everybody thinks I'm absolute crazy. But if anybody remembers Mrs. Frizzle and the Magic School Bus from PBS, I now joke that I'm going to be Miss Frazzled and the cyber prison bus. I actually have a couple of dresses being made that are custom circuit board prints and different things like that, kind of in the style of Miss Frizzle. And basically I took the home lab to a crazy extreme. My goal is to keep kids off of the prison bus. As we go forward in the future, we're going to have more and more kids accidentally break laws and do things that they don't understand. And so, like right now, I'm up in Fort Collins, and I've been doing some teaching or talks for some students in some computer science classes. But I do want to kind of focus on going into rural areas and inner cities that don't have access to a lot of the computer stuff, because we find that a lot of these threats are coming from, especially with AI, kids who are playing around. They don't understand the consequences or how bad things could be, right? So really what I want to do is take it to kids, kind of talk to them. I'll take it to seniors. But I love supporting people. So like my biggest thing in life is supporting other people and helping them succeed as well. So keep kids off the prison bus, help introduce them to great mentors. Frank Victory is on here. He just popped up, and it's one of those things that I want to get them introduced to OWASP. I want to get them introduced to Black Girls Hack with Tanisha, or the different types of mentorship where I know that they're actually doing really great work, and trying to get these kids to understand what the consequences could be. And it's their safety, right? So this is towards the end. So if you don't mind could you start at maybe one of the very beginning where yeah. So I've got it ripped out. I did get some help from a local kid that was in need of some extra work, and I've been breaking my back and body. I've had several surgeries recently in the last couple of years. Like when I say like it's almost killed me, I'm not kidding. So, but yeah, I've ripped out all of the cages. We've got the floor ripped out. Everything's redone in insulation ×2 now. So there's 2 layers of insulation. We've got the subflooring done. That was that last picture. So ripping out these floors, and those cages weigh a lot. So
yes, they look pretty hefty, friend.
yeah, it's no wonder I kind of tore some stuff up. But yeah, so next is going in is the flooring, and I have a bunch of stuff, but I kind of want to build it off grid, even though this thing is not going to go off grid. It's way too big of a bus to go off grid. So this is after we ripped out the flooring.
Oh, okay.
And then very last picture. So that's the flooring prior, and it has like the railings. So all of that's been taken up and redone. And now there's a subfloor that's complete. I don't think I got the final subfloor. I think that last picture you pulled up. No, there's one more maybe. Anyway, so everybody's been wanting to know like what's been happening with the bus. Well, lots. It's just time and money and, my back breaking, literally. So,
Oh, no.
but I'm getting closer to getting that done. Hopefully this summer. I keep saying like every year I'm going to get it out to DEF CON. Since it came from Vegas, I want to get it back out there. But basically I want to have like a little bit of a server, like kind of build my home lab, but I'm not going to use it per se for kids to get on. I just want to travel with it. It's kind of, I'm not changing the outside. It will remain a prison bus till the day I die.
Nice.
I kept a couple of the cages in there as well. And also I kept a couple of the panels with graffiti, because the thing is, why do kids go into gangs? They're bored. They don't have support. They don't have a way to make money outside. And so using this as a tool to get them connected with the mentors like OWASP. And I thank you, Frank, for putting in the Denver OWASP, or any of them, that's what I want. I want to get these kids involved so they're not stuck. I didn't go into tech because I didn't have that support, right? I'm from the South originally. You work in an office, your support, your admin. And I did that, but I always did other things. So originally I was in accounting for construction. So I can build your house now. Obviously, I'm building a prison bus. I'm learning diesel mechanics at this point as well.
Very cool.
I adjust my own slack adjusters. I've done all kinds of crazy things. And let's see. Am I frozen by the chance?
No, but your neurodiversity is hanging out with all of your varied interests.
Am I frozen?
No, I don't know if she can hear us. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Nope. That's okay. She's back.
Keep freezing.
There you go.
All right. I don't know where I jumped off there, but we
were talking about all your varied interests. You were talking about diesel mechanics and a few other things. And then I made the comment that your neurodiversity was hanging out with all of your varied interests.
Yes. So even as an accounting person, so my first office job, I took over accounts receivable, and then I learned how to read blueprints, and then I took over warranty calls. And then I've worked my way up into different things, but I'm OSHA 30 certified. I drive forklifts. I can build your house. I might have a little ADHD there. So,
okay. It's okay. I'm actually putting together a whole talk centered around cybersecurity and neurodiversity, and
it's a thing.
Kind of that scope for the Human Behavior Conference that's going to be in November in Orlando.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes. That's run by Chris Hadnaghy, my good friend, and others. And I'm excited. I'm so stoked. I did hit a little hit. So as I was rounding out like my outline, and like I want it to be a well-rounded talk, right? Mm-hmm. I am neurodiverse, so I have tons of perspective to share, right? But to be well-rounded, I want to know about the other side of the fence, the neurotypical. I started to think, who do I know that's neurotypical? There's not a lot, except for Will, which I'm already going to be asking you tons of questions. Lucky for me, Kathy Ullman, who is a fantastic public speaker, has done it for years, and is a fantastic incident response leader in her space, offered to help. So she was like, I think I'm the most neurotypical person I know. I was like, because I came up through all these research points that were like, what's the, I typed in, right, what's the difference between neurotypical versus neurodiverse? There's tons of, this is what it feels like to be neurodiverse, right? But because neurotypical is neurotypical and therefore the norm, nobody's going to put bullet points up about how to be normal. You just are. So, oh, good. Hi, Frank. Like, send me a message in LinkedIn and with your email, and we'll figure that out at the end. But
it's easy to spot in IT the neurotypicals, right? They're the ones who all feel behind, like they can't catch up, because the neurodiverse are rocking it.
Well, and my husband is also in cybersecurity with a touch of the neuro spicy, and I was talking with him about it last night, and he was like, okay, do you remember that friend we had when we were all sitting around a campfire and everybody was talking about what their inner monologue sounds like? And that friend said, you all have an inner monologue? And we all looked at that friend and went, you don't? He said, that person is neurotypical. And I was like, but most of us around the campfire all had an inner monologue. How is that the norm? And he goes, we attract like people, my dear. And I went, oh. We all have like sixth graders. It's true. It's so true.
Surrounded. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm like, I got overwhelmed thinking about how neurotypicals think. And some of the research says things like they're able to shift from task to task very easily. My answer for that is, why didn't you just complete the task instead of shifting? Or why didn't you do all the tasks at the same time as you're traveling, right? Like for example, when I get up in the morning, my coffee pot takes 3.5 minutes to make a full pot of coffee. Okay. That's my first step when I get out of bed in the morning. I go to my coffee pot. I start it. Now, while it's starting, I'm also filling up my water filter because it's right there next to the sink. I empty and reload my dishwasher because it's right there next to the sink. I put away anything that my children have gotten out and left out on all my countertops. Right? I feed and water the dogs and I let them out. And that's in 3.5 minutes. I've made it a game for myself that whenever my coffee pot goes ding, that I have completed all of these things. Sometimes I'll even be able to start a load of laundry. Because whatever. I'm completing all of the tasks all at the same time. I didn't shift. I have two hands.
So Rachel, this is what we call context switching in the computer world. I'm just constantly context switching.
Okay.
So from one context, like I can like, okay, I've got to go feed this, do this, all that. And it's like a circle, right? So you just kind of bounce back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that inner monologue isn't stopping anytime soon. So it's just constantly switching to the different things. Yeah.
And there's a list constantly going in my head. Like constantly going. It's somehow.
But side
quests. I don't know how
much fun they are. Sorry.
I'm like, how does not everyone neurotypical Will, do you have an inner monologue?
Well, I talk to myself, but that's about it.
No, like
it's called multitasking.
No. Like right now, there are 2 or 3 lines of thought that are happening in my head, not at the same time, because that's actually physically impossible, but they're like stacking on top of each other, making
Nope.
it's a to-do list. It's my grocery list floating around. It's who I got to email next. It's that I'm going to come back to Frank Victory after we're done with this. It's
Yeah, no,
constantly churning.
Yeah.
nope. I'm just on
So
this right now,
I have a Kanban board on my wall with an Eisenhower matrix with magnets that are color coded. Because I work at SANS now, and we'll get into that job and all of the things that I'm doing with that. It has kind of blown my mind how far out we're like going. But even before that, in order to try to help with this multitasking and, all of the context switching that we're doing constantly,
Yeah.
I put this down, and it helps some, but I can't. There's literally not enough. It's like as laying down in bed, it's like 4,000 more things pop up, and I'm like, I get
Yeah.
like writing notes everywhere. Sticky notes have been my lifesaver for the
Yes.
longest time. Yeah, it's a thing.
Yes. And for me, it has to be physical because I have two conditions of my neurodiversity. One is object permanence, which does not only apply to objects, it also applies to people. There's like a breaking point in my brain. So like every year we go to GERCON, right? Will, you can relate to us going to GERCON. My brain ceases to realize that those people exist if they're not in front of me. When we go back to GERCON, my brain automatically can pull up the last sentence I spoke with each one of those people, and there could be 1,000.
Wow.
And then I can pick the conversation back up like we never stopped.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
I can't do that. But the one thing I did notice,
I'm not doing it on purpose. Just to be clear. That's not on purpose.
But the one thing I did notice when we went to GERCON, first GERCON, which, after I got time I only knew you through this, right? And when we met in person, the thing where I felt so honored, friendship-wise, was when you were working on the table and you were trying to do a whole bunch of things all at once. And I was saying, hey, is there anything I can do to help? Do you remember what you said to me?
You're helping.
You turned to me and you said, you are helping.
Yeah.
Because you are my center point right now, because I can trust you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're my body double. That's called a body double.
And that struck me in a way that I was really honored that I could hold that degree of trust, that I was your anchor at that time.
Yeah. No, every time that you and I are in a space, it doesn't matter, digital or physical, you're my center point. As long as I can see Will, the list makes sense and it doesn't spiral out. And there's a person here at home. It's Meg in the background being my moderator. Meg is my center point, right? If I'm hanging out with Meg, the list makes sense and it's not overwhelming. Hanging out with Will, the list makes sense. It's not overwhelming, right? I have those people in my life that do that. So I think it's great that we should probably circle back to Kim because we've left her out of this a whole lot.
No, I think this is all very interesting because I'm like on the higher level of autism. Like I'm just enough autistic, and I'm like, cool. I'm like, it all makes sense now. It's but I'm mostly the ADHD, and so I'm constantly like, I worry about people in a way like, oh, I just hope they're okay. I haven't talked to them. Like, that's what runs through my head because people are so important to me. And so people, like, I'll reach out to people all the time and be like, hey, I just haven't talked to you. Are you doing all right? Because like, they do mean something like that. Yeah. Like, I don't forget certain people, and I try, but I can't keep up with it. So that's constantly scrolling.
Kind of like that I forgot. It's that you're just not in the purview. I didn't forget right? Because if you forget, you lose the feel. But if I look, this is going to sound real silly. Pictures of people around my house, like I even have pictures of my friends sitting on my shelves so that I don't forget they exist. Because, well, and again, it's not really forgetting, but it's just they cease. It's the object permanence thing. They cease to exist. If I put something in a drawer, I no longer own that thing, and it disappeared into the void.
Oh,
Wow.
But it makes it really fun when I go to clean out like that junk drawer in your kitchen or whatever. It's like a treasure hunt. I find so many fun things that I forgot I even owned. Kim, you were an anchor for me when I was out. Aw.
That is
Yay.
awesome. Thank you, Frank, for letting me know that. Because, like, I do spend a lot of my nights trying to reach out to people or find jobs and send them stuff. Because, I mean, that's one of the things that, like, when I switched careers, I finally felt like I met my people, because apparently I worked with a lot of typical people. I
Right.
don't know. So finding this community has saved me in so many different ways. And so I just constantly try to give back, right?
Yeah.
And because they've been there for me. And so yes, Frank, you've been there for me as well. And so when I see something, there's so many people struggling right now with the work issue. And so I'm constantly I'm not as active on LinkedIn anymore, but I go on, I see jobs, I pass them along, or I'm in a different chat group on like Signal or something else, and people are constantly passing jobs around, and that's really what that keeps me going. And that's, you were talking about what's my passion, is helping people, right? Like the bus, I've had people tell me just give it up. I'm like, no, if I find that one person, that one kid that needed me at the right time, and I get them connected with the right mentor, then I've won the game, right? Like,
Yep.
I don't care about anything else other than making sure those around me are like happy, including myself. That makes me happy, right? So I want to make sure we're all successful, and how do we best do that? But there's been days I've thought about, like, should I just do, like, should I listen? I'm so stubborn. So, but I'm like, no, I can't give up this dream, because it's the first time. It keeps me interested of learning. I'm still learning. Like, I have always been a student my entire life. I didn't go to college right away. I finished my AA. As I went, I finished it in accounting. I didn't want to finish my bachelor's in accounting, so I am now finishing with SANS.edu. It worked out, because in that meantime, well, I was deciding what I wanted to be when I grew up, right? I knew I didn't want to finish in accounting. It didn't make sense. And I've been turned down for jobs like at Amazon warehouse. And I'm like, I can run your warehouse in my sleep. But they were like, you don't have your bachelor's. And I'm like, okay, cool, bro, you lost. Like, that's fine with me. But
I don't do well in standardized testing environments either.
I actually do okay overall if it's something I'm interested in, right? So
Yeah.
most of my electives were like anatomy and biology and oceanography and astronomy. I love science, anything science,
Me
right?
too.
So those were my electives. So people thought I was kind of crazy, but I kept taking my courses throughout not working. And I finally found SANS, and you have to have 70 credits to transfer to their bachelor's program. And it's only been going for a few years, and it's been amazing, because I had 73 because I was in a new class. And after that one, I had 73 credits, and I was like, okay. And all SANS does, right, is they teach cyber. So you have to bring your core credits with you. And so my next class is coming up in Python, which I like. I love their courses, and so it's really exciting for me. I know not everybody can afford it, but I was able to, right? And their EDU side is so much different. And I'm excited every day that I get an opportunity to continue to learn. And even when I'm not learning, I'm learning something like diesel mechanics. I speak Spanish now because I got laid off, and I said, well, if I'm going to get laid off, I could be really sad here and stay, or I
Right.
could go to a different country and learn a different language. And so I did.
Is that
So
when you went to Costa Rica?
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I got laid. So the first time I got laid off on a street in Florida, I was living in Florida.
Hmm.
I got laid off and I changed. Accounting can switch in between industries and verticals, right? Very
Yeah.
easily. And so I switched, and it took me about a year and a half to go into a different job. This was back in like 2008 when we had the big depression thing. And
Yeah.
so the first one, I went and finished my AA in accounting. And the second one, I said, screw this, I'm going to go. I worked in construction a lot. So,
Yeah.
and I lived in Florida. So what can I do with my time? Well, let me go get something off my bucket list. And I never could speak Spanish. I took Latin in high school. I took Spanish in college,
Yeah.
but I couldn't speak it. And so I went down there and couldn't find work and just kept learning Spanish. So
Yeah,
now
for those who don't understand the connection there, Florida has a very large Spanish speaking community.
Yes,
Very large. As well as there are a huge amount of Spanish speaking folks that work in construction.
Yes.
If you didn't know.
Yeah.
Now you know.
And ironically, I decided to switch careers into, well, I was still in accounting, but I ended up, it hasn't actually paid off as much for what I initially went there for.
Yeah.
But it's been great because I love speaking Spanish and learning other people's cultures. And I really love food, like a lot. All the food.
Can you look into something for me? I'm not going to ask you, but can you look into something for me?
I can.
Can you perhaps film some of your fun times in diesel mechanics and post them like to YouTube? I would follow that so hard.
I do have some videos of the bus. One of them, I am actually covered in like grease and stuff because I have a slack adjuster that is sticking, and until I can get in there. I actually just changed my own brakes because I went to a brake store and they
want to charge a lot.
Well, no, they were trying to mansplain a line item to me. And I kept going, I just want to know how much the line item is. Well, we can't do it separately. And I finally got so mad. I said, fine. And I walked off and I called my buddy and he goes, come down. I'll help make sure. And I was like, but you will not do it. You can supervise me. And it was so easy. I was really like, are you kidding? Like,
yeah.
So I changed my own brakes on my car and
Good job.
That was fun. Yeah. So
the first brake pads I ever changed were on a 2006 Chrysler. No, that's wrong. It was a 98 Chrysler Sebring convertible, cherry red, tan top, leather interior.
Ooh, fancy.
To change the brake pads on that, you had to take the car apart. You couldn't just take the wheel off and change the brake pad.
So it's basically like Legos.
It was terrible. I learned a lot of lessons. One, I learned I am capable.
That's right.
Yeah, well, it's a lot harder now, right? Because with a lot of the trucks and things of that sort these days, there's very specific orders of things that you have to do. Otherwise, you do major damage to the beds, or you do major damage to internal parts. That things have to be done the right way. And those, you really have to read up to make sure that you know that you're taking those steps, because they're not necessarily intuitive. That you have to go to that degree.
I want to mention something. So Meg popped this up.
Yeah, it's awesome. Welcome, John.
So John lives in Hawaii. Who wants to go hang out with John?
Mahalo. Yes,
mahalo. I will be alohaing my way to hang out with John. I've never been to Hawaii. It's a thing I would definitely need to check out. Miss Old School Vehicles. Very cool. Yeah, brake pads. What a deal. Sorry.
I get it, because we have the Arizona Cyber Warfare Range, right? And that has become a community space in the college, and that whole neurodiverse area being able to come in and find that group. There's a lot of folks that don't understand that so much in IT, it creates an atmosphere in a community where folks can come in and be comfortable in that space of that curiosity, of that going in multiple directions at once, and bringing together wild and different ideas. And that's what cyber is really about, not sticking to the norm.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that when looking at job descriptions and different stuff, it's so I mean, we all know the system is kind of broken. So I used to do HR and accounting and I got handed all the things, right? And I just knowing that like, oh, you have to have a bachelor's degree in something. Like I said, Amazon was like, I'm sorry, I know you've got all these, you've managed people and you've run this and you're OSHA certified and you speak Spanish, but you don't have your bachelor's, but you like have run multiple business, but you can't handle this warehouse, right? So it's and I'm like, I was glad. I was interested. I mean, this was like years and years ago, but it was always mind-boggling to me, right? How we come about things like we're still in a world where you have to know somebody because you can't break through the HR systems because now it's all automatic and we know there's bias in things and not bias in other things and how they rate and do these things. And so it's very frustrating. And then now you see that all of these people are having problems like getting people to work. And it's like, well, you kind of told people you didn't want them for so long. And now you're like, well, why don't they love us? And,
Right.
I don't know.
By the way, speaking of it being you still need to know somebody to break through some of the stuff. That's one of the missions really so the coffee table talks is my passion project that I drug Will around for like the last 3 years doing. I'm just really glad that the fearless leader of Secure Nation is totally cool with it. But one of the things that I love to do is connect people together. And a lot of times it helps break down those barriers. I've seen people go off and get jobs at the same company as somebody else because I was like, you and you be friends. And that goes back to that neurodiverse pattern recognition, I think.
Yeah.
And it's that conversation, like how I can go back to the conversation I had with a person, if it's a year or 10 years ago, and pick right up where we left off. It's something that somebody else will say that strikes me as a pattern in my brain, tickles that part of my brain. And I'll go, have you met this person? You two would really get along. And it's because I've matched their pattern. It'll be their interests, their speaking, their background, anything like that. And I'll just, go be friends.
Yeah.
It works out. I don't think I've introduced two people together that haven't at least enjoyed each other's company for 30 minutes at the very least. So
absolutely. But Bogsy brings up a really good point up there, is that we have to redefine, especially in IT, how things are being done, right? Because IT is not just theory where you regurgitate facts.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's got to be hands-on. It's got to be jump in, do, think, work differently, right? And the big problem that we have there with the whole bachelor's degree thing is that, sorry, as higher ed and training, we've failed.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest about it. And
you know what I think that is? I think it's trying to apply too much formality or bureaucracy to something that doesn't need it, right? And Will, in the pre-show, you were joking, and as my daughter was like, "Are you a hacker?" She was talking to Mr. Will, because in the South we call everybody Mr. or Miss with their first name. Yep. It's a thing. It's a sign of respect. Anyway, I'm trying to teach my kids how to be good humans. So she's like, "Mr. Will, are you a hacker?" And he's like, "Sort of. I'm more like a digital plumber." And but back to that point, Will, of you saying that, you're more like a plumber, right, in this space, you would not expect to give somebody a book on plumbing and then just allow them to go plumb a house with no hands-on experience whatsoever. No. I have been an electrician's assistant. That is kind of like the apprentice level, right, for a trade. Whenever you're in that category. Anyway, here's the thing. Don't ask me how we got there. So you go and you watch. And then after you watch for a while, you assist by handing stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And then after you assist for a while, you do a small manageable project that you are supervised, right? Because there may only be 120 watts coming out of your wall plug at your house, but whenever you're doing like commercial stuff, it's 480 like and beyond. And then you get transformers and transform it down. Anyway, if you guys want to ask me electrical questions, go ahead, but you'll be better off Googling stuff. But anyway, that's the way I think, and I think Will and his group think too, that cybersecurity and IT should also be disseminated to a brain. You should watch, and then you should assist, and then you should do small manageable projects with supervision and mentorship, right? And then you start to build this muscle memory in not just your muscles, but also your brain muscle, right? And it starts to become practice and repetition. And then you have the wisdom involved with it too, where you've also grabbed the wisdom from these other people and been able to incorporate it into your own everyday behaviors.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't sit somebody down in front of a book and test them on all you have accomplished is knowing that they can rote memorize. Yeah. That's it.
Well, that's all to try and get metrics.
Yeah.
Right? What are certs?
Yeah.
Metrics. Have you checked the boxes?
Well, and a lot of certs aren't like, well, I do see things changing, but I think a lot of us in this industry are talking, we need more apprenticeships. Everybody needs more mentors. We all need more mentors. There's not enough of us to mentor all the new coming people. We definitely need like apprenticeships, and there's only so many MSP jobs and security jobs and AI. I'm not scared of, AI taking our jobs. It will take some jobs.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a bad before it gets worse. I mean, a worse before it gets better. But I think we focus on how we can help people, right? That's again, the people that are doing good work and providing mentorship. And actually, so I'll bring up MSOC now, because this is a good intro into that. So I do some threat hunting on the side, contract with Frank Angioni and at MSOC. And so they've been amazing. He's probably one of the best teachers I've had in a very long time. He just, the entire team is very collaborative. It's small, but that's the problem. We have a lot of small companies that are great like this. And then how do we get through a little bit more?
Right. So wait. MSOC stands for Managed Security Operations Center, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're talking about all of the acronyms. So yeah, they're Managed Cybersecurity Operations Center. They've been doing a lot of stuff recently, like with SOC assessments and visibility and tools assessments, because people that's the biggest thing. Like there's the Cyberdyne Terminator. Sorry. I just I love that Frank has taken the time. He's a knowledgeable person. There's a lot of people out there like that. But they've done a lot of different things to help smaller, not just smaller companies, which we need to focus on because they don't have the ability to hire these people, but it's also helping people that are newer into the industry and working with each person And that's why I actually, my last accounting job was at an MSP, and I love them very dearly, but I wanted something more. And it, like, being around all of that technology was the reason I was like, I need to go get more into this stuff because this is what I want to do. And you know, so having those mentorships and those abilities, the apprenticeship type jobs and contract stuff like that really helps out. And we just need a lot more people on the bigger scale to do that instead of saying, we'll replace you with, and then again, wonder why you can't find people to work for, you know, pennies. And it's just, it's a very scary, it can be a very scary time out there, right? Like,
Yeah.
we see the news, and if you're in this industry, you know, and it's like, well, why aren't you hiring people and helping them learn? So, MSOC does that. Actually, Blue Bastion, I worked with on the SOC as well. That one was overnight, and my health was going down very quickly and rapidly, and I ended up quitting. But I love that team. Mike Jones and Luke McComey over there are just doing some really great stuff as well. But I would suggest anybody looking for some jobs, check those out if you're newer into the industry. Not, you know, they're not always hiring, but different types of things like that. So
what would you say is like the SANS starter kit? Like, if you're in the industry, like, I'm thinking about Will's students, okay? Like, if you're still a student studying, you know, in progress of getting your degree, what would be the best SANS certification for a network architect and or a cybersecurity analyst? Wow, I can't English. Analyst.
Well,
an analyst.
I think the very beginning one that I took was the GFACT, and it's your foundations. And man, I mean, it covered everything from the beginning of time. I swear to God, it's intense. And I mean, they really do make you do a lot of hands-on stuff depending on the different classes. And like, knowing, like, I grew up with a lot of this stuff, right? But the problem is, like, other people didn't. They're coming in and they've never seen a rotary phone. Well, like, that's fine. You've never seen one, but like, we have USBs and different like things. And in enterprise corporations, you don't know what you're going to see. And you have to, like, you know, if you're like, I don't know what that is, and they're pointing to a cassette tape, obviously, right? Like, but it wasn't that long ago that we had VHS tapes and recording everything, and you don't know what you're going to walk into in some of these institutions that are older and smaller. And so it breaks down everything from the beginning of time, binary, everything. I think it's like I said, I mean, they are intense. I mean, it's so I think I would start with GFACT for anybody. It's like I said, and then you kind of build GSEC as a security. So those two are like the first two they kind of get everybody to kind of focus on if you're kind of in the beginning, right? So because after that, you just kind of keep working up, right? Party lines. Sorry, I saw the rotary phone.
I know.
But I mean, it's funny because I mean, technology, we've come so far, and then you don't know what people have. You know, they're still running Windows 10 or things. So, you know, learning those types of things are very important. I will tell you the one thing that I tell the kids in school, and I actually am super excited about SANS summits. I guess I'll kind of switch into SANS summits real quick.
Sure.
So that's my current job. It is not technical, but I get to work with all the people that I love, which are the speakers that are super technical. While I'm continuing my degree on the back end and working on all my side projects and things like that, I get to work at the SANS Summit team, and I get to work with anybody who wants to do a call for presentation. It's a great way to get your name out there, let people understand what your knowledge is. I actually want to do one. I just haven't had the time.
I'm going to submit my neurodiversity talk. Yay!
We actually will have a neurodiversity summit at the end of the year. We have a new to cyber summit. The Cyber Summit, the CTI Summit, the Cyber Threat Intelligence Summit is coming up on Monday and Tuesday next week. We're actually sold out in person, but we have virtual online that you can still sign up for and check out. And we have 2 tracks, so you can watch the live in person, but we also have a new to CTI track where people will be kind of explaining more about what cyber threat intelligence is and their different kind of takes on a couple of different levels of things. So
Very cool.
one of the things that I love about the summits, though, is when I came in, I wanted to see if I could help students because, again, I am thinking about our future generations and we need people to care. If we don't have anybody to care, we can't fight the war. And the war is all on computers now. We're being attacked all the time.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh, you guys, the amount of times that my parents tell me, well, we've been lucky there haven't been any wars recently. And I'm like,
well,
what? I'm
yeah,
like,
it's
that
interesting.
is
I've been paying attention.
that's a deep
We
thing
live
you
in a
just said
very,
right there.
what do you call it? Unique time where we have too much information and I'm very much a person for free speech. I follow EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, talking about free speech because once you limit one thing, it goes into a whole caveat of other things, and it's very interesting. But one of the things that I was super excited about which was last year at our Cloud Summit here in Denver. It's called CloudSec Next. And we'll have it again in October. But I was allowed to work with the local Denver DSST. It's a Denver public school, but it's the ones focused on the science and STEM. And so I had 10 high school students come in, and they actually came to the summit for 2 days. All of this stuff is so over their head, but it gives them an opportunity in order to like network with people, talk to people that are really in it, get to actually ask questions about what cybersecurity is.
Yeah.
People have this idea of what they think it is, and like the reality is so different.
It really is. It's
Yeah,
not Mr. Robot Hacker.
and it's there's a lot of, there's TV shows are really doing a decent job of like kind of trying to change that narrative a little bit
Yeah.
about like how I'm helping friends, but again, watching these things and not knowing that it is potentially illegal can wind you up into a whole different story. My biggest thing is when I switched, I didn't know how many different, and this goes for any industry, right? Like construction's huge, right? You can be an electrician, you can be a plumber, you can be whatever. Well,
Yeah.
in the cyber industry, it's you say blue or purple and everybody just says hacker if you don't know. Like everybody is a hacker to anybody on the outside, right? And that's not true. So to give them an idea, I had them come and network and ask questions, and their teacher was really cool and got them up on the stage to ask questions to the audience, which I cannot even imagine as a high school student getting up on a stage in front of all these people. But they did an amazing job. And actually at the CTI Summit, I have 8 students and one of their teachers from Alexandria coming in, and we have another 8 or 9 coming in from Utah. So I do like scholarships for these kids to come in. They're not in high school. Hopefully I'll get with Alexandria High School next year. But as I go to these different places, I'm trying to get high school and college age students an ability to network, ask real questions to people that have been in this field for a long time. And so I think that's something really special that they've allowed me to do, is to bring these kids in to really get a better idea, right? Because we just talked about how knowing people is really important in this field, as in any field. And so anyway, I just got 5 minutes. Oh no.
No, you're fine. I should have told you she's gonna warn us because I'll get like this. And then it's like 15 minutes past the hour. And
no, but I think it's really great. But the summits to me have been, it's been a life changer. I kind of do that old joke. It's a hair club for men, right? I'm not only a member, I'm also the president or whatever. And I get to say that now. Like I'm going to school with SANS, and I do believe they have such great content, and I get to now work for them. And so it's been really life-changing for me. I have a great
Yeah.
team. And I get to help kids along the way and, do these amazing things.
You know what would be great is if SANS were able to partner with organizations like PIMA so that they could also provide the hands-on in real person
We've
setting.
talked about that. We've talked
Yeah.
those things up. So, I mean, I am working with different schools, like, I mean, how we can do that type of thing. So, like DSST, we're working on getting their students some kind of access through some grants and different things of like the GFACT or, obviously at that level, like high school is hard, right? But
Yeah.
community college is great. So we've been, they're working on different types of things like that because I mean, we definitely need more of that hands-on, you know, work knowledge, right? I love the fact that you guys have that data center. Well, that is just miraculous. I love it.
I mean, and they've grown it, huh? Aren't you in a couple of places?
And also in the areas through the relationships with the cyber range, our students have been producing actionable intelligence that has led to arrests and deportations. We are at war, folks. It is happening, and it does need to get out there. We do need to get that information going to help people in the hands-on, in the practical. And we have to make it affordable.
Yeah. And I mean, I know that like people do say like, oh, SANS is so expensive. They are. But I also go, it's like getting a Lamborghini. You don't know. You can go get certifications from other places, right? There are lots of good ones, and I will always support all of those. But there are also lots of other ones that have just thrown up whatever, and it doesn't count. SANS has a reputation. That's what they're standing behind. They know I mean, these are not normal certifications. I mean, I can tell you from experience, they are hard. They are hands-on. But they were always there with you working through that. My advisor, I told her I'd give her a shout out. Her name is Hannah Setters. And I've been through so much in the last couple of years with all of the surgeries and the sickness and everything in my health. And just having like someone like her, just like be understanding and how can I make you successful, has been life-changing again for me. But yeah, there's lots of great certification programs out there, but I go, you get what you pay for, right? Is it a vendor cert that you might need? Absolutely, go. I will never tell somebody not to get a certification, but you also, one of the things like our next, in February 24th and 25th in DC, we have an OSINT summit coming up. Like I said, we have 13 summits that me and another girl split all of the speakers, and our team splits up and does 13 of these a year. So it's not like one big one a year, but the OSINT, we have skull games come in and do like a CTF. And one of the other things besides the warfare outside of our borders and what we're protecting is we're also trying to protect children. How like they're getting abducted and talking to people on a game and they ask for a credit card or a phone. Hey, I'll give you $500, go buy me a phone. You don't know that you're part of a crime now. You don't know if they're going to kidnap you. It's for your personal safety. And so at the OSINT summit, it's really cool. They have skull games come in and you actually get to learn. They work on helping trafficked children and women. And they've actually gone on to hire some of the people they've rescued.
Oh, cool.
And teach them these skills to help other people, because this is real.
Awesome.
Kids are getting kidnapped in our backyard. And
not awesome that it's real. Awesome that they hire.
Oh,
wow,
yeah.
Sorry.
No, absolutely. But those are
not what I wanted to put out there.
That, like, these are real things. And I mean, that's why I want this bus and I want to go around, and I'm like, it doesn't have to be SANS. There are lots of great things. How can I help you be successful? How can I help you stay out of jail? A lot of kids go into crime because they can't make money legally.
Right.
How do I change that by giving them connections to a mentor? How do I get them involved with places that won't be giving them false information? You can go on YouTube and go break the law pretty easily these days.
Yeah.
Do I suggest it? No.
No. Yeah, the coffee table talks does not condone that behavior. We've mentioned that
Absolutely.
before previously when guests have come on and talked about some, you
Yeah.
know, in the gray area kind of things that they've worked on before. That's an excellent point, Jessica.
Yeah.
You guys, we've hit our time.
Oh, no.
We could do
Well,
this
thank you.
for a long time.
Yes.
No, thank you, Kim Kennedy, for coming with us today to talk about our squirrely journey through neurodiversity, professionalism, mid-career jumping, bus making, diesel mechanics, SANS certification seeking, higher education reform, as well as high school introduction to mentorship.
Yeah, absolutely. And please connect with me on LinkedIn if I can help connect you. Same with Rachel. It sounds like we both have this thing, and we want to connect you to make sure we can get you where you want to be. So just don't give up. That's the goal. Don't give up.
Yep, that's it. Next week, you guys, we're going to be here at the same bat time, same bat channel with our guest, Michael Obleander, who is an amazing cybersecurity professional, more like that C-suite executive type level person. He's delightful. I've been trying to get him to come on as a guest for several years now. Wow, when I say things like that, I sound old. But he has a new book series. It's not a new book series. He has a book series with a new book. There we go. There's a book he's added to the series. Okay. And it's basically guidance for other executives coming up through cybersecurity and some of his storytelling, which is fantastic. You're going to really enjoy him. That event will be up on the Secure Nation LinkedIn later this. Kim is an amazing human. Later this afternoon for you to hit click and attend and tell your friends. Tell a friend.
Yes.
You want to know how to support these conversations? Tell a friend and show up. That's it. Actually, you don't even have to show up. If you just hit the attend button, right? Because it's all about, you can go back and watch it later.
Yes.
Like, it's okay.
Things happen.
Yeah, it happens. And I'm always available for, 30 minute, hey, virtual one-on-ones as well. Here to help you, connect you to some resources or some pals. The day job is, this isn't the day job. The day job is actually a cybersecurity reseller and professional services connector. So Secure Nation is partnered with over 400 vendors across cybersecurity, but we are specific to cybersecurity. So if you ever need any help or advice or someone to look over a budgetary number that you're like, that looks real weird, we're happy to do that kind of thing for you. So anyway.
Awesome.
Y'all have a great weekend. We're watching snow melt here in South Louisiana, which is weird. And we'll
just saying that is weird. Yes.
It's very weird. And we'll see you all next week. Thank you so much. This is the part where we wave and smile and tell everybody how
Cheerio, folks.